Hello, 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 and a very good evening to everyone here. Thank you for joining us tonight on our fourth session of Students Tanya Alumni Jawab. Before we begin, my name is Ada,
And I'm Ilham.
and we are your moderators for tonight. So let me tell you a bit before about our program. This program is an initiative by the FCM to talk about and share about the career prospects, the campus life, the knowledge, the skills obtained, and of course, interesting stories from our alumni. Together with us tonight is two of our respectable alumni, Mr. Raymond Malinga and Ms. Farah Mahadon. Bachelor's of Multimedia and Animation Visual Effects class of 2014, that's Mr. Raymond, and Bachelor's of Multimedia Honors in Virtual Reality class of 2013, that is Ms. Farah Mahadon. Two people who have made it so far in the industry and have accomplished so much, and we are super lucky to have them with us tonight.
Before we start, we'd like for our guests to give us a brief introduction of themselves. Can we start with Miss Farah?
Yeah, sure, of course. Hello everyone, I'm Farah Mahadon. I'm originally from Batu Pahat, Johor. I'm currently living in Germany for 6 years now, and I'm working as a UI designer for Ubisoft Mainz. Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to have you here. We're really excited. Mr. Raymond, please introduce yourself.
Halo, apa kabar semua? Nama saya
Wow.
Raymond Malinga dan saya berbesar hati kerana dijemput untuk sesi kali ini. And I am from Kampala, Uganda, and the CEO of the Creatures Animation Company. Happy to be here.
Woo, really excited for you guys. Yeah,
Great
really
DM.
good. So I have a question for Miss Farah. As a
Mhm.
person who started out doing your foundation course in FCM, what made you go for the creative field afterwards? And why MMU? Was virtual reality your first choice, or did you have any other plans?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. I choose MMU because it aligned with what I wanted to do at that time. I know I wanted to go to a creative industry, but at that time I was not sure whether to go to film animation or doing a visual reality. But in the end, I choose visual reality because it's the closest thing that would allow me to do video games. And visual reality at that time was the latest technology, so was the big hoo-ha, and it gave me a glimpse of the future, and I was so excited about it because
Mhm.
in the course, for example, I was given the opportunity to play around with the motion capture camera. We get to put a tracking ball on people's, and then capture the models and put it into rigging and watch it comes to life. Like it's being translated from the people to a 3D models, and I think that is so fascinating.
That's really fun. It must have been a
Yeah.
really refreshing experience for you.
It's super refreshing because at that time as well, if I'm not mistaken, MMU was the first university to do this virtual reality. So it was really like, wow, this is amazing. I wanted to do it. Let's go. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's really interesting to know as well that you wanted to go into animation at first. It really goes to
Yeah.
show that you don't have to have it all planned and things will work out anyway in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Now, a question for you, Mr. Raymond. This is just to ask you, what made you decide to study in FCM MMU when you were back in overseas? And I hear that you were in a completely different kind of course, computer science, if I'm not mistaken. So did studying in MMU provide you with the knowledge and the skills that you need in this current industry?
Yeah, so I was doing computer science back then in Uganda, and the things that what was funny is that I've always wanted to do animation. I've been a storyteller for as long as I remember, and the only reason why I was pursuing computer animation was because I saw in the course outline that there was going to be like an animation module, right? So I was looking forward to that module. I think it was happening like in the second year. But then I quickly realized that computer science is completely different. And so I just started, I got the opportunity, talked to my parents, convinced them that I wanted to pursue animation, because back in those days in my country, like animation was non-existent. So the thing is that I wanted to go and study in America. I was seeing all these catalogs and stuff. And like, it was really expensive. And my dad told me, if you really want to go, it won't matter where you go as long as you're close to animation, you see. So the thing is that I just started looking around, and there were these study abroad in Malaysia things over here. So I was like, okay, cool, let me check it out. Then what made me attracted to MMU and FCM is that online, there were a lot of student projects, the final year projects. And I was like, oh, these guys have done like a lot of work on different kinds of work. So maybe there's a place for me there. And so, yeah, and over the years, it did provide me with the skills that I need because, and I think it speaks for itself actually, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I'm a graduate from MMU. And the thing is, I felt like I went there and I met amazing lecturers. I kind of came in just saying, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm not in America, but I'm in Malaysia, but I'll still kind of put my head there, but then like my head in it and just achieve what I can achieve. Then I got there and I was like, wow, there's a lot of industry experienced veterans teaching in MMU. And that was quite encouraging. So I got more. And it was just, yeah, so like short answer is yes.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. And like, yeah, like what you said, it doesn't matter where you are. It's just they only give you the tools that you need. It's all up to you, right?
Exactly.
So I have a question for Miss Farah. While studying your degree, you've accomplished a plethora of jobs from freelance advertising to an internship where you did 2D, UI, pixel art. What would you say were the pros and cons of juggling multiple things like that?
The good thing about doing multiple of skill at the same time is that it allows you to dive into multiple different disciplines. So you get to experience like, oh, how is this 2D pixels are like? How is doing designing a graphic poster, for example, or making a 3D model? And this allows me to think that, hey, is this something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life? Is this something I enjoy or I don't enjoy? If I don't enjoy, then I jump into something else. What is a cons on this thing is that it gets overwhelmed very easily because I'm like the person who like, oh, you got a job from me? Yeah, let's go, let's do it. But then it's like it stack up so fast. So the best thing I could give as an advice is to prioritize what you need to do, and then very good time management for it. Yeah.
Right.
I also
That's
wanted to have a diverse portfolio because I think it would definitely help after my degree, and that's to find a job, and that's why I did it as well.
right. I
Cool.
see. So, you
Yeah.
know, with good planning, good time management, you can make anything
Yeah.
work, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, Mr. Raymond,
Yes, please.
could
Yes,
you
sir.
give us a brief look into what inspired you when you were young? Like, did family
Yeah.
or friends like influence you into animation, or was it like your own choice that you became interested in?
Yeah, so as I said previously, like I've always been a storyteller at heart, and I feel like I was writing stories even before I knew that that's what I was doing, right? So when I was growing up, I used to love. There's some authors that really influenced me. So I'm a big fan of Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl, when I was really younger, Matilda, that's fantastic, Mr. Fox, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I just like the quirkiness. Because like his stories just seem to be out there, right? And he respected kids when he was talking to them, like in his books, and it was really, really just encouraging for me and sparked my imagination. So I just started writing my own short paragraphs of things. For a long time, I'd been doing that, and like I didn't know that animation was actually a thing that you could do as a profession. You know, it's so weird when you're a kid and you're watching it, you just assume that the cartoons just exist. Right? You don't really assume that they're being made by people. So the first encounter I had was that I can clearly understand that I want to do this as a profession is when some friend of mine showed me like this stick figure cartwheel, person doing a cartwheel, and he was reading all these catalogs and books of like animation schools and everything, and he was sketching. And then I remember asking him, what is that? And he said, oh, this is animation. It's a career path. You can do this as a degree. And that was like in my O levels. And I was like, wait, you mean you can actually do this as a profession, right? Like all those cartoons, all those stick figures, those flip books I was doing in the corner of my page of my books in like primary, that can be a profession, right? And so I was like, I was fascinated, and that's what really inspired me. And ever since then, I just kept on trying to get closer and closer to it as much as possible. Because originally I had wanted to be an author, just a novelist, right? But the limitation of being an author was that I didn't get to visualize my ideas, right? And so animation was this playground where not only could I write, but I could see those things come to life as well. And that really fascinated me without limitations. Like if I wanted it to rain, it would rain. If I wanted it to, if I wanted the character to smile, the character would smile. So I felt like it was some form of an ultimate art form. And so that's what inspired me and got me into this direction. And I haven't looked back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like your
Yeah,
younger
it really
self
is.
must be like super proud of you right now.
Yeah, it really takes that one moment
Thank you,
that can
man.
change everything. Yeah, it's really interesting.
All
Okay.
right, so if that's all, like thank you so much for an eye-opening insight, Miss Farah and Mr. Raymond. While we let our audience digest all that information, we will have a short break. So please sit back, relax, and we will be back after this commercial break. And we are back again with our spectacular alumni, Mr. Raymond and Miss Farah, on Students Tanya Alumni Jawab. Broaden your horizon.
So I have a question now for the both of you. You guys are practically role models that inspire the both of us and everyone else in
Yes.
the audience. We're
So true.
wondering if there were any lecturers that you've looked up to or have made a huge impact in your life while you were studying.
Raymond, do you want
Yeah,
to start?
anyone can
No,
go first,
no.
whoever.
Yeah, please, Raymond.
No, I go first.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because okay, cool. Yeah, so as I said earlier, like I feel like I was really fortunate because I got a lot of amazing lecturers, and I paid attention like crazy from like every single class. I did not think any class was not useful, and I think that paid off later on. I do want to mention a few lecturers. I want to shout out to Mr. Hushinaidi, who encouraged me during my foundation years for art. like drawing, because I really sucked at drawing. I came in as a writer and I wasn't really good at drawing. But like he was really patient answering all of my questions, and I call all my lecturers sensei. So Sensei Yushinaidi. Then there's Mr. Radzi who taught like semiotics. Like now this class, anthropology and semiotics, are classes that usually people think that are not very important. I want to get to the design stuff, but funny enough, like a lot of those things are very practical when you're trying to build products, and I encourage anyone to actually pay attention to those classes. I want to shout out to Mr. Azman and Madame Nadia. They know why I'm specifically shouting them out. Like they gave me a lot of chances when I think they shouldn't have, right? And they believed in me, so I have to give them like and they're really encouraging. And then Mr. Siri, obviously in the first year, was really encouraging, push me. And finally, I have to give a specific and like special recognition to a lecturer who actually passed away. He passed away, I believe it was last year. This is Mr. Azhar. And the reason why I want to say this is because during our final project, you make teams of 4. And one of our teammates, he got a problem and he had to go back to Indonesia. So we're only 3, and we were really discouraged, like me, Jiden, and Risky, my other teammates. And we gave up in our final project for about like 2 weeks. Then he noticed that we're not in class, and he called us. And he told us, he gave us a life lesson about not giving up and the industry. And if it was the real world, what would you do? And so we picked up, and we were behind everybody for the entire final project. But the thing is that project, White Collar Time, that we did ended up going and getting awards in Indonesia and even Malaysia. We traveled to Japan as a team. And I can't thank him enough. I never got to thank him and recognize him. So I want to thank him here. And that lesson that he gave me, in a way, is still echoes throughout my life right now, that do not give up and keep on persevering. So yeah, those are the lecturers that if I forgotten anyone, it doesn't mean they're all my senseis, but these are the few that I just want to mention.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's a fantastic stories. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Deeply
Good
inspiring.
man. Very good man. Very good man.
You must be really, really proud of you. Like of the person you are today.
Yeah, man. I'm just honored that I was taught by a man like that, because very powerful man, very powerful, like intelligent, clever, and life lessons. Not only teaching you animation, but teaching you the industry, life, how to approach things. And I feel like that's very, very special. And there's a lecturer I haven't mentioned, but I know Farah is going to mention him. So everyone mentions him, so I know. No, that's okay, Farah. So
yeah, Farah, I would like to hear your stories.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, first one, I would like to mention Mr. Mazlan, because he actually recommended me to this alumni, and I was very, very thankful for that. He's also very patient to me during my FYP years. So thank you so much, Mr. Mazlan. And then I would also to say thank you as well to Mr. Avijit Paul. I think right now he's in Australia already. He left. The 2 lecturers I'm going to mention has already left. And another one is Miss Adila. She was very kind to me. There was also a picture of her in one of the pictures that I sent as well.
Oh,
and
that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't mention.
Sorry, and of course check my the
Very
OG.
popular.
Yeah. The OG.
The OG Chayman. Everyone mentions Chayman.
Thank
Anyone
you so
mentioned
much,
Chayman,
yes.
and they taught us so many fundamentals in design and discipline. Wow.
True.
Excellent.
Yeah. So before we jump into like talking about your work and all that stuff, we're wondering about some of the fun things that you've both done in MMU. What were your favorite memories back then?
This
Who would
time
like to
it's
start?
Farah first.
Okay.
Farah first.
Me first.
Ladies first.
Yeah,
Yep.
ladies first.
I think I'm currently just thinking off the top of my head. Okay. So there was this event called Daikon in MMU last time. There was a Japanese singer, I think, coming in. That was a really fun experience because, if I'm not mistaken, they were wanting to give a award and they didn't have enough people, so they called me on top of stage, and I was in my costume, and I was like, "Whoa, I'm not part of this
Oh my
cosplay at all,"
gosh.
but I get to go up and present the gift, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool!"
While
That's
you were
really
in cosplay?
Yeah, while I was in the place. So that was really amazing. Also, all the fun time where I get to because in Emina Club, for example, we used to have a lot of this um what do you call, the theater where you showcase Emina and have a potluck almost, I think, every week or something. But that was a really fun memories I have, and I cherish it a lot. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Cool. Yeah,
That's
so
right.
I go. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this Amina Club was the anime thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if it still
So
exists or not. So maybe it still exists.
I don't know if does it still exist? The
Yeah.
anime
Yeah,
club.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah, it
Yeah,
still does.
it still
Yeah,
exists. It's comic club, the anime club. It's all
comic
still
club.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I came from Uganda, like I joined MMU and I was like, wow, I really love anime. I know all about anime. And then like I tried to join this club and like everyone was like a hardcore otaku in there. And I was like, wow, I don't know what you guys are even talking. Some people even speak in Japanese. And I was like,
Oh,
okay, I watch with subtitles, guys, man. So, so, I did enjoy that club, but I really loved seeing the culture around that club. But for me, one of some of my memories in MMU, this hasn't come up, and I'm quite fascinated it hasn't. But like, I used to dance, so break dance.
Oh,
And
oh,
I told you now that you didn't pull out those videos. So so anyway, so I used to break dance, and I was part of like a lot of talent competitions. And this is not specific. I represented MMU in a competition, and it was a national competition, and I was sixth, right, out of like a lot of universities. I came, which was really cool. That's one of my memories from there. Then another Panko. We went to Panko. We had a trip there, and we did like this. We had the green team. We were part of a team. We were in different teams, and we had to do like a play or like an act on stage. And I was like the lieutenant and sergeant and
wow.
commanding guys, and we were dancing. It was really fun. I really loved that. And I was calling everyone maggots because they were like my yeah. There are
my
the pictures
God.
there. Oh
That
my
is
god!
amazing.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, so like
Wow.
we danced to like some K-pop song. It was really interesting.
Oh, that's really fun.
It was really fun. Yeah, so that's like one of my fondest memories from MMU.
Miss
Can you
Raymond
still
got the
do it,
Nice.
moves.
Raymond?
Miss
Oh,
Raymond, do you still have the moves?
yeah, I still have the moves, but we'll do that off camera, man. So
All right, yeah, that's a bonus special for us.
cool.
All right, let's
Yeah.
get back into the questions. This is one for you, Miss Farah. So,
Yeah.
foundation done, degree done. What was your next step, and how did you get to work at the Ubisoft?
Yeah.
It's a really good question. I'm sure a lot of people are curious about it. So directly after my virtual reality course, I went to England to start to further improve my understanding in games development. So what I didn't say just now during my previous question was that in virtual reality as well, I learned how to develop game from the scratch, from basic. So and then that's why I went to England to improve this even more. And then in England, I studied in Birmingham City University. I took a gamer camp course, and from there we have a multiple mini project where at that time I wanted to be a concept artist, but the demand for being a UI designer was higher, so I joined in and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do UI, and I fell for it. And because of a lot of those mini projects that I work with, it helps to build my portfolio for the Ubisoft. And that's how I get. And then I applied for Ubisoft Mine, and they were looking for a junior designer for their companion app at that time. And I was like, yes, I wanted to join, and that's it, basically.
That's so
I like
cool.
that you're very flexible. Like you went in
Yeah.
wanting to do concept art, then you like it's
Yeah,
easy for you to like switch. Yeah,
I
that's
always
really
think
good.
like whenever the door open, just go through it.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a
That's
really good
good
mindset.
advice. That's good
Yeah,
advice. Audience,
Yeah,
take
really
note
good.
of that.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you can do it or not is behind the story, you know.
that's true. Figure it out later, right?
Figure it
Yes.
out. All right. So, Miss
Yeah.
Farah, we now know how you got there. What does the role of the UI designer and mentor at the
Mhm.
Ubisoft entail?
So, for those who doesn't know, UI stands for a user interface, and my day-to-day job, my role is that I did all the menus that consists of buttons, layout, look and feel, the interactable elements. Basically, we design the tools for players to navigate into the game world. yeah, this is, for example, some of my sample of my work and my team. I have a fantastic team to work with. Right now, I have one lead for UI designers, one junior, and a freelance icon designers. They're all very fantastic people to work with, and it's also my team. And my
That is
day-to-day job,
fantastic.
what I did is that I did every day is different, so there's not one day that is similar to another. So I get to do a little bit of visual binding. It's kind of like a visual coding, and also get to do a little bit of wireframe, prototype, mockup. I also get to be involved in diary studies, which mean that we send our basic game to test to player before we release it, so we get the feedback. It'll be like, okay, so what's going good, what's going bad, what did you like, and improve from that. And that is a very fascinating work. And I also do mentor. So with mentor, what I did is that my job is to guide um, junior designers and get them up to speed with our workflow. That's basically what I do. I give them exercise with our in-house game engine called Phoenix. And then from there, I also have a lot of feedback session with them. Whenever they do something, they'll be like, hey, is this okay? And I proceed to give feedback along with my lead, Jan, and also my other teammates. And what else did I do? I also bring them to meetings. So my job is basically to get all these junior designers to get comfortable within the team, so they don't feel awkward, because starting in the company is very scary, you know. So my job
Must
is to
be.
make their job as easy as possible, so they feel comfortable. They're not afraid to voice their opinion. I brought them to the meeting or something, just to get them used to it. I also, if in case they have any question, I'm one of the person that they can like, hey, go to. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's really
basically.
good.
You must have like
Okay.
a lot under your wing right now. Like
Yeah.
if I could ask, what was like a key factor that made you stay, in this line of work? Because that sounds like a lot. So what made you stay?
Oh, definitely, because it's a really, really fun work to do. I actually still waking up. I can't believe I'm doing this job. It's part of my childhood dream.
Yeah, that's
And Ubisoft is such a fantastic company also to work with. That is also one of the key factor. For example, um, one second. For example, um, sorry, I got lost in fit in mind.
Okay.
No
Sure.
worries, no
It's
worries.
fine.
What
No
was the
worries.
question just now again? Uh,
Key
What made you
factor or
stay in
why?
the line of work?
What made you
yes,
stay?
because
Yeah.
because Ubisoft allowed me to grow in career advance, and advancing my career really good. Because if I wanted to go on accessibility seminar, for example, or doing a workshop in After Effects, I just tell them like, hey, I need this skill to improve my work, and they will send me. They also have a lot of studios, so they like have 26 different studios
Oh,
across 18 different
Wow.
countries, and it allows me to network with multiple different studios across. So I could just like, hey, I don't know how to do this. Maybe I can reach an expert in Quebec, Canada, or I could reach it in Singapore, for example. It's really, really cool. And last thing is, I get to be on stage on Gamescom. Gamescom is
Oh,
basically the world largest gaming trade center and trade
oh.
fair, and it's really surreal to like be on that stage. I mean, I was just being called directly there, and then you see your work on the screen, like under Ubisoft name. It's like,
and everyone
oh my,
Oh,
watching.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds like a dream.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm such like I'm such a just a small girl from Batu Pahat, and just to see that, I'm like, wow, I kind of make it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really inspiring. I love that.
Doing what you love. That's the best.
Mm-hmm.
yes, exactly.
All
And
right,
Yeah.
getting
so we
paid
know
for it.
you
Yeah,
get
and
paid
getting
for
paid
it.
for it. Win-win.
It sounds super amazing, like from everything that you said. Like I have to ask this one other thing, which is like, how is the working environment then in Ubisoft Studio? Like, how's your coworkers? Like your day-to-day routine, like when you go into the
Mhm.
office, the working environment
Um,
there.
currently in our team within Ubisoft, I think we have 100 something people, and it's very, very chill. We do not have crunch. Okay, I know you guys heard a lot that in the video game industry we have a crunch, but we do not have it.
Big quest.
Yeah, people are so chill. They are so expert. They're very excited to work with. Whenever you presented ideas, they always like, "Oh yeah, let's do this." Blah blah blah. Let's find a way how to make it happen. That's excitement. It's really
That's
good.
really good.
Also, uh, in Germany, people are very friendly. Believe it or not, it's really friendly, and I had a blast over here. Yeah,
That's good. A lot of
Cool.
opportunity to grow. Yeah,
yeah,
that's really
exactly.
Amazing.
important, I think. Yeah. So I
Sounds
have a
so good.
question for Mr. Raymond. You are from
Yeah.
Uganda, you studied here in Malaysia. Could you describe the
Mm.
cultural differences between both of these countries? Like, what were the prominent things that you've learned during your stay here in Malaysia?
I think what I will say first is this is a very simple, subtle thing that first thing I noticed in Malaysia is that whenever people like say hello to you, like is it like greet you, they touch their chest.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
Right?
yes.
Then I
So,
was like, what's that all about, man? And it's like it kind. I interpreted it almost like they're receiving your greeting, right? And that was kind of interesting to me. And then I think one of the major cultural differences that I found in Malaysia and Uganda is that people embrace the creative arts much more over there.
Mhm.
And it's because I met all kinds of people like with dreams. A guy can say, I want to be a professional beatboxer, and it doesn't seem kind of strange, right? You see,
Right,
and
right.
like you find all kinds of people with different expressions, and they are freely pursuing them. And I found that the country was had learned how to leverage these creative talents to actually benefit the country. And
Mhm.
I found that really fascinating. That's the major cultural differences. Of course, there's a lot of things like it took a while to adjust to the food, right? At first, for a long time, I was only eating chicken, right? Unfortunately, like I was only eating like I was like, okay, just get me that. Then after some time, I started eating like nasi lemak. I tried,
Yeah.
of course, chicken fried rice. I actually discovered chicken fried rice in Malaysia, so I didn't know about it before. And
Oh,
and then also like there's I think like my answer I want to keep it in that whole creative space because that's something very important. Like, and I would want the audience to kind of take that away, that the embracing of creative talents and the creative industry can actually work in the favor of a country and the nation's development. And that's what I found in Malaysia. So that's what I'll say. In
yeah.
Uganda, like it's there, but like I feel like it's still growing. Creatives still struggle a bit, but I feel like there's a lot to learn from the way Malaysia approaches creative industry. Like Farah can grow up saying I want to be a game designer, and it's not strange, right?
Right.
But over here, like say I want to be a game designer. What kind of games, man? What are you talking about? So I really admire that, and so that's something I want to point out.
Yeah, that's something really valuable. And when you were here, you worked in some local animation companies in Malaysia as well. What made you decide to go back to your hometown and start your own company?
So what's interesting about that, and yes, thank you for asking this because I wanted an opportunity to shout out.
woo,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been
so like the
wanting to
thing,
ask you this.
yeah.
yeah, so the thing is, I actually came to Malaysia wanting to just to get knowledge and go back home. I'm very build the continent of Africa industry focused. So the thing is that it was actually a struggle for me to get to join a studio and accept the job. I wasn't actually expecting it because I remember we were approached by a few studios right after our final year project presentation, which is very interesting because like there are a lot of people who might be watching and students, and they're like, "Oh, I'll do my FYP and not take it seriously." But the thing that's funny is
Yeah.
that usually the people that they invite for those industry showcases and people who might be watching might be your employer, right? So I was really shocked. I didn't expect like
It
to
actually
meet.
worked.
Yeah, like we finished our presentation, and after that, we just started getting different cards from people being offered different opportunities. And then what I found I was attracted to one studio in particular, which was a Wow Animation, that is
Ah,
with Usama Zaid and formerly of Leskopak. They're the guys who kind of kicked off like the animation industry in Malaysia. And what I got out of joining this studio was a lot of mentorship. I wasn't looking for it when I came, right? I thought that maybe I'll just do this job, right? But then at the back of my mind, I kept on thinking, I have to go home. I have to go home. Like, why am I here? Yet at home, like there's so many problems in the creative industry that maybe I could help with. But then I sat in WOW, and it was actually an amazing experience because first of all, they were starting a new studio at the time that I joined them. And so they had like a startup mentality, but they had all the experience of experienced people. So the things that I used to ask so many questions, like if we leave at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever, I'll just be asking so many questions to absorb as much as possible from these guys. And those guys were mentors. Like Zaid continues to be a friend and a mentor to me today. Fuad, Faiz, I can mention all of them. Ida, Azi, all of them. I can just go through Shafiq. I remember all of them, like Nazmi, Adi, I can't forget, and then Andy for animation. So the thing is that, and then obviously Zali, we joined at the same time with Zali. We were the two newbies, and these guys were like so experienced, right? So like we were in the weeds together, right, for a long time. But the thing is that I decided to leave. When I decided to leave, wow. It was not a choice of like, I don't like this place, I don't like Malaysia. It was just that thing of like, my African spirit was calling, you know?
Like you had a responsibility.
I just feel like there were so many things over the course of the months that I was working at WOW. I used to complain about when I was seeing back home. And I kept on saying, maybe I'm the person meant to go back and fix them, maybe, right? So we had a conversation, a very heart-to-heart conversation with Zaid. And I remember him, it was actually quite shocking to me. And I learned this from him, which is that sometimes he understood my dilemma because he had gone through something similar. And I was expecting like, no, don't leave, you're disorganizing us, all this stuff. But he was like, dude, I get it. Like, go do your thing, right?
I love that.
And he encouraged me, and I actually look at my teammates the same way now, that it's okay. Some people might not exactly they might be meant for something else. And how you treat the way they leave is also, you get lifelong friends. You understand it? So I didn't leave screaming and shouting like, wow, right? Like I'm still friends with all of these guys. And like I admire that. And like now they were like my mentors, they still are in some ways, but like we're growing into peers now. And so I was always meant to come back, I believe. And I am just grateful for the opportunity of having worked in WOW for the time that I did.
Yeah, I think also that the fact that they had that startup mentality must have helped you figure out how to build your studio from the ground up. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the things like that's what I was not expecting, because like when I got there, I still use some of that information. Like some things still pop up, and I'm like, oh yeah, Fuad told me that one quiet night, maybe you should do this, like you see, and then I'm like, oh wow, like in 2019 it becomes relevant, right? So so like I feed off of every experience I get. That's who I am. And I just store them in my head, and one day they might be useful. That's just who I am. And so
that's true.
Yeah. That's it.
That's really cool.
How was making your own animation studio? The Creatures Animation Studio, right?
Yeah, Creatures Animation. I started with my brother Robin in our parents' garage, and that was quite a journey. Like launching a creative business in Uganda was really difficult because animation. There were some few people over here and there who were trying animation out, but it's and I think I talked to like some of my mentors back in Malaysia, and they told me that whatever I was doing, I had some savings. It was a lot of training of people, and training of teammates, and just getting people to believe that what we were trying to do was worth it. And it was quite a journey, and we decided to do a Calabar Date My Homework. What's funny is that for the whole first year of 2015, I was trying to figure out my studio, but my graduation was in 2015 in Malaysia, so I got to come back, and I got to talk to all these guys again. And like they gave me the energy, like, no, just go and do what you were saying back in 2014. And so I came back and I was like, I'm just going to make a film. It doesn't make sense here, but I'm just going to do it, right? So we started making the film, and it was quite a journey getting people. Some people didn't believe in it, which is okay. Some people believe in it, and like that film went on to build our studio. We finished the film with 7. We started 2 people, finished it with
Wow.
7. And we got multiple awards with it, and now I'm on a Zoom call with FCM. So no, sorry, Google Meet with FCM. So I guess we did
Yeah.
something right.
Yeah, you
I
did
guess we
something
did.
right.
You definitely did a lot of things right, Mr. Raymond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So that,
Thank you so much, guys. We have learned so much so far about their journeys after leaving MMU. There's a lot to gain in the experiences here as long as you take the initiative. Don't go anywhere yet. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Wonder how fast intelligent machines run on 5G? At MMU, you'll find the answer. Wonder how creative content and online businesses are mastered? At MMU, you'll find the answer. Wonder how cybersecurity and law function? At MMU, you'll find the answer. Find out all these and many more at Multimedia University, because MMU is you, leading the digital future. Visit mmu.edu.my.
Right, welcome back. And for those who just joined us this evening, we are on the 4th episode of Students Tanya Alumni Jawab with Mr. Raymond Malinga and Miss Farah Mahadon. Now, Mr. Raymond, that was truly an inspiring story of you setting up Creatures Animation Studio with your brother. Now, I actually hear that you're creating your own animation series, being recruited to be the director of the first of its own kind African animated anthology Kizazi Moto on Disney Plus nonetheless.
Woo!
Audience, please, if you haven't checked that out, please just check it out. It's gonna come out. But could you share with us like some important lessons that you've learned throughout your creative journey that you've applied both in life and in your work?
Okay, cool. That was so hyped. I'll just pause and let the audience applaud because
Yeah.
whatever
Okay,
you
applause.
said, that was so much hype, man. Yeah. So
it deserves hype.
Yeah.
thank you. So I important lessons. Well, I have been one of those people who just believes in one. If you believe in something, try it out. Right? It's okay to try it out. You at least try it out. You see. And the other thing is that one of the lessons I'll just tell people is, and this is one thing that we do in my studio as well, is that when we're recruiting people, we always ask them like a couple of questions of like, what are you good at? What aren't you good at? What do you like to do, or what don't you like to do? Simple things, like, because these questions kind of give you an idea of who the person you're recruiting is, right? And how to design work. I was doing some of that at WOW as well, and I just kept on pushing bizarre and like showing bizarre choices and showing like what I thought I wanted to do, like, and I thought that one day somebody out there would say, yeah, this guy is crazy enough, let's give him a chance, right? so the thing is like that showed up first with the Calaban Date, my homework, and it's a concept that we just developed to be honest with you, when we were going around pitching it, it just didn't seem like it had any right to exist. Now, in hindsight, when you look at it, you're like, oh, wow, a nice project. But the thing is that when you're pitching, it's like, what do you want to do? What? Why?
What is this for?
Yeah, what is it for? Like, is it going to be useful at all? And I'm like, I think it might be useful in ways that you can't see now, which is like inspire like a next generation of artists, provide employment opportunities, things like that. And that's what we achieved. Now, when it came to like with the Disney and Kizazi Moto, there were 70 directors that were chosen across Africa, and we had to kind of like compete to boil it down. And like they only came down to like 10 different films, and I'm one of those films. And the thing is, throughout that entire process, I just kept on telling myself, I just want to do my voice and what I think I would want to watch. And I know people hear this a lot, but I feel like the one thing other people can't do is be you. It's very difficult to be somebody else. You understand? So the more I kind of dig into my own head, my own craziness, right? And I just explore that, the more distinct I become. And if people say, if someone says yes, that means that it's a validation of what you've been doing. And even if they say no, you're just on that journey to understanding who you are a little more. So, and that's not a bad thing, because most of the artists that we admire out there, they're unashamedly themselves, and it's amazing to watch them be themselves, you see. And it's not easy. You think that it's easy. Like, I'm asking you to be yourself. You're already yourself, but it's not easy to just be yourself. And it's something I'm still learning every day. And as long as I keep on doing this, I think that's the most important lesson. And I try my best to embed that in my teammates. Like, just at least know who you are. Because if you know who you are, I know how to help you and sculpt you into more of who you are, you see. And the more of who you are, right? You bring back to us a very unique and valuable thing that we cannot get rid of in our company. We're like, that guy is important because of this, you see.
That's true.
And so that's my philosophy generally. And I would say that's the lesson. And I'm still perfecting it. I'm getting better, but that's my journey. That's what I feel like I'm doing, and that's the lesson I would give everybody. So stand out in class like that. Say, what crazy story. If you want to make a Nasi Lemak, a monster, go ahead and do it, because somebody out there wouldn't make that choice, right?
That's true.
And that will make you, and then all you have to do is just make sure that your skill, work on your skill and everything to get that whatever is in your head out as in the best way it can, right? So yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I would say to everyone.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
that's
Audience,
really
please take
insightful.
note. Just be you, audience. Just
Yeah.
be you.
I think it takes a lot as well as a creative to be yourself without worrying about like what other people will think about your work and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's really insightful.
I will add that like being yourself, because I know this is kind of romantic sometimes. Like I'm just being myself,
Right,
right? You
right.
have to kind of like you have to kind of
The
get
balance.
They have that
yeah,
balance.
you have to get feedback. And I will, if there's time, I will share something about what I learned from Zaid about this. But the thing is that you have to get feedback about who you are as well, right? And because like sometimes you won't be able to see some things, right? But that whole life experience is what becomes who you are. Who you are is not just an isolated thing. That's a very dangerous and crazy person who's
That's
just
true.
isolated, right? But it's a combination of everything you go through, who you learn from, what you absorb, what you reject, what you take in, and that is who you are. And you have to be working on yourself to become that more and more every single day.
So
Wow.
inspiring, Mr. Raymond.
Yeah, goosebumps, man.
I just hope I'm making sense. That's all.
No,
Oh,
you
so
are
much
like
sense. You
this is.
are.
I'm gonna be thinking about this for the
Yeah.
next few days. Yeah.
Gotta contemplate it during the night. All right, so let's be candid for a second, Mr. Raymond. But 3D animation is arguably like one of the most challenging courses out there. Like the complexity, the steep learning curve, and like long hours of work. Like, I've been through it myself.
Yeah.
So like, could you share with us like the challenges that you face personally, maybe with your own final project like White Collar Time, or maybe Kala Banda Eat My Homework? Like, what was the challenge there that you found?
I think just to keep it simple, like thank you for saying that, because there's some people watching from Uganda who don't understand that animation is a crazy
So, oh my god,
degree, right?
it's crazy.
And like when I say it out loud, some people are like, dude, it can't be that hard. But like, just to give you like a context, I think we started I think around like 80 people in the animation class. I think we graduated around 20 or 25. I can't remember. And these 25 people were a combination, I think it was like 25 or 30, but a combination of different batches. So I don't know how many of my original batch were in that video. But so it's a really crazy course. And the thing is, like some of the difficulties I faced, and even like my previous answer kind of relates to what I'm about to say, which is, it took me a while to understand that in order to keep sane in a course like animation, I had to remember what I was good at. So that every single time that one thing popped up, I always showed my stuff. You get it? So the thing is that whenever there was a writing thing, I would just go all out, you see, and try my best to do the best kind of idea that I could summon in my head. And because of that, like I kept on telling myself, like, even if I'm not good at drawing, I know that I might make up for it in another class. But the confidence that I would get in that class would help me be brave enough to go to this other class. You get it, right? So it's like just feeding off of energy. Just feeding off of energy. You can't be like if you might be Adam, like you might be really good at, let's say, music, but you're focusing on so many things and getting discouraged by so many things, right? And then even your music starts failing. But then you should keep in mind that your music is your source of inspiration and something that makes you brave throughout all of the courses. So that's what I did. And I struggled a lot with just, at first there was a bit of know-it-allingness in my head, being a and I took like a very, I would call it a humble decision to not be the leader of my group for my final year project, because I asked myself, because like my story was not chosen, like we all pitched, but my story was not chosen. And it was like a conflict in my head. I was like, no, me.
Mine was
like, I decided, like, you know, this might be the time in life that I kind of learned this lesson of listening to other people and supporting other ideas. And that has helped me become a better leader over here. And like even in Calaban, my homework, like I learned a lot of lessons, like training people, delegating things, trusting people to do their job. And those are things that are really hard for a leader and even a student to do and to learn. And it's better to learn them while you're in school, so that when
The
you're still
mistakes won't cost
younger,
you.
no, when you're younger, you can still kind of accommodate this stuff, right? Like when you're older, you start
You
being like, no, this is me. It's harder. Like you get a big head. So that's what I would say. My answers are like very unconventional. I know people are like, oh, the late nights were hard, but I think that they're necessary. It's just how you treat them and what energy you use and bring to the table that will take you through the course. So I don't want to say that. I want to give you solutions
yeah.
to how to deal with these things. So
Choose
Everyone
what
in
you
the
allow.
audience, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone in the audience who wants to study animation, please don't be discouraged. Go for it if you want to.
oh, it might also not be for you, but it's fine. But as long as it's
Yeah.
your decision, as long as it's your decision,
That's
yeah,
true.
it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. I have a question for Miss Farah. So earlier on, you were looking at photos of the game that you were part of making, Anno 1800. Can you share with us more about the project itself or any other projects that you've been working on recently?
Okay, this is why I'm here as well. I wanted to share this because I'm so excited working on this project. It's like an innovation award.
Wow.
So what is the game about? Is that so? I know 1800. It's an empire building game. You as a governor is inspired in Victorian setting. You as a governor are given an islands, and then you get to build your city as you wish you wanted to build. And then you get to your little boat. You can go anywhere around the world, conquer another island, fight a pirate, build a relationship diplomatically, or become a bigger supplier, do a go expedition, build what is it called, build a bigger zoo. It really depends on your play
Oh.
style. Yeah, this is like some of the trailer for it. What's really amazing as well, what the core of our game that was attract player to it is our production chain. So our production chain, what's so cool about it, for example, like your citizen, your people wanted a bread, and you need, for you to get that bread, you need to plant the wheat first, and then you need to build a flour mill to grind that into a flour, and
Wow.
then send the flour turn into the bakery so they can bake bread, and then the bakery will send it to a market where they distribute it to your people. And then with that, your depending on your people mood, if it's like you supply enough bread or not, they will riot. And then because they riot, then you need to build police station or a fire
Oh,
station
wow.
if they started
Wow.
burning
There's
down
like
the house.
so much realism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yes,
immersive.
exactly. It's really cool. And what's really, really cool as well, that we have an Easter egg that you guys gonna love. You
Oh.
get to walk in the first person mode in the city that you built. And not
Oh,
only that, you get to
Oh.
ride the tractor, manage your farm, and then you get also to take the tourist bus, go around your city, all the place that you have built, your zoo, or ride a roller coaster. That's really cool. And
Wow.
I know 1800 is a really complex game, and it's super successful because it was released in 2019, and we're still supporting our players with post-launch content until now. I'm currently working for season 3, as you can see
Wow.
on the trailer.
This game must be your baby, like,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
my precious.
I love that. I love that so
Yeah,
much.
and I've
So,
been with the
yeah.
game since the beginning. Because in video game industry, in the video game workflow, I would say we have a lot of different stages, and I've worked with this game since the beginning, at the starting part, which a lot of people don't get opportunity to. So that's why that is really precious to me.
Wow. That's amazing. Like, especially to see it like from the ground up
Yeah,
and like all the
exactly.
people playing it. Yeah, that's really
And
nice.
you
being so
you achieved
successful.
your dream.
Yeah,
Yeah. And still going at it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, from the point of view of a key player like yourself in the gaming industry, what do you think the game industry would look like in, say, 10 years or so?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question because, in my opinion, in my opinion, that I think in the future, in within 10 years, accessibility would be the most important thing, where players not only because of their regardless of their age or disabilities or whichever console they choose to play, they get to play the game. They have access to this. For example, like you could play the game on your phone and then you go home and play it on console or PC. you can consume it. Or
Mm.
maybe even in 10 years, you can play it on your fridge. You don't know. Maybe, right?
True, true. Or like
Yeah.
one of those CSI like on your
Yeah.
screen.
Exactly, with all
Yeah.
this really cool high tech fridge, right? And then
Yeah.
I was also thinking that a lot of we also have some players who has cognitive and motor skills problem. And what is good to
Uh,
give this player is that to give them an option, a customization that allows them to play the game that allow them to play game just as like others, give them comfort however they wanted to play it. And that as a dev, I think we should provide them this customization and option, like for example, I want subtitle on, or I wanted it to be in color blinded mode, I wanted it to be
mm.
scaling or something. Yeah, I
Right,
think
yeah,
it's
that
really, really,
inclusivity is really important. Yeah.
yeah. And
Mm.
it's just so cool to be able to change quickly, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm really excited now to see like how things will change in the next few years.
Yes.
Okay, so we're coming to our next break. Thank you so much for your answers. I'm sure those of you in the audience are super intrigued and just can't wait to walk through the doors of FCM virtually. Hold that thought, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Nak tahu kelajuan peranti pintar dalam 5G? Di MMU ada jawapannya. Nak tahu bagaimana kandungan kreatif dan perniagaan atas talian dikuasai? Di MMU ada jawapannya. Nak tahu bagaimana cyber security dan undang-undang berfungsi? Di MMU ada jawapannya. Semua itu dan banyak lagi ada di Multimedia University kerana MMU ialah anda menerajui masa hadapan digital. Layari mmu.edu.my.
Hello again. Thank you for staying and sticking with us tonight and being part of this insightful conversation.
So I have a really exciting question for the both of you. Please tell us about all the awards that you've gotten throughout your working life.
So Farah
Who wants
first.
to start?
Oh, Mainz.
Yeah.
It's far of us.
I thought you wanted to mention first because you have some award in Kings.
No, spoiler.
You guys are
Farah.
so
Spoiler
accomplished.
alert.
Which one?
Okay,
Whoever.
Spoiler alert, Farah.
I go first then. All right.
Yep.
So just to be true, that the award is not from me, but from the game that I'm making. So I'm part of it. But we
Yep.
have won multiple awards since I've been working, because this is not my first anno. I've worked since the previous anno, 2205, and I've won award on that one as well, and we won award on 1800. Really, we won best graphic, best game design, best sound. Forgot what was the other one actually, but yeah, it was a really fascinating experience. And then if you go to our office, it's like the hallway to the entrance of our floor is just wall of
Hall of
fame.
Fame.
Yes.
That's so cool.
It's okay.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Raymond?
Cool. Like, Farah, did you win any awards in school?
No.
Just asking. Okay, you didn't.
No.
Okay. I won a couple of awards in school for our final year project. We did a picture. That's a very popular one. A picture, Asia Pacific something awards, innovation awards. We won the student award there with Risky and Diden. Those are my teammates. We also did Digicon. We won Digicon Indonesia, HelloFest Indonesia. We went to Digicon Japan. That's where we got the Digicon Indonesia award. Then after that, with Calabanda Eat My Homework, we got about 6 awards. And one of them was FESPACO, which is the largest film festival in Africa. And we got a silver there. And then we were also featured in 2018 at the Cannes Film Festival.
Wow.
And that was really exciting because the Cannes Film Festival is the largest film festival in the world. And anyone in the film industry who knows about Cannes, getting a feature there is quite
It's a big
really
deal.
cool, right?
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So the thing is, I feel like it's important for any student out there that's an international student or even just a local student in Malaysia to just understand that sometimes the things that you learn, the way you apply them will actually take you to places that you're not able to see right now. So cool, man. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations to the both
Yeah,
of you.
congratulations.
So cool. Now, here's another question for the both of you guys. Would you recommend FCM MMU and why? Miss Farah or Mr. Raymond, who would you like to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Mr.
So I knew Farah was going to be like, you go first this time. So anyway, would I recommend it? Yeah, I think, I would. And the reason why I would, especially the animation, the animation course that everyone wants to avoid, is because animation stress tests you for life, man. Like there are a lot of stuff inside there that prepares you for life, and I think it's a very fulfilling degree to take because not many people manage to get that degree and earn it. And so when you get it, you actually stand out. And the good thing about animation, it's kind of this ultimate platform, art form where it combines a lot of things. So you'll get to learn so many things in animation. And would I recommend FCM? Yeah, why not? I feel like FCM, I'm a product of FCM MMU, and I feel like my journey does in some way begin back in 2010 when I joined MMU. And whenever I tell people, when they ask me how long I've been in this industry, I always mention that I've been in this industry for about 10 years. This is my 11th year, because I count when I started MMU. So I would recommend it definitely. And I think anywhere you go is if you have the right attitude, right? That's my attitude. And I feel like I hope that people listening in just go in and understand that the lecturers and the tools are there. You just have to ask the right questions, right? And you'll get the right information out of them. And also listen. So yeah, I would recommend it definitely.
Ms. Farah?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, yes, because I think what I learned from virtual reality, basically, I mean, it's FCM, but virtual reality as well, that I learned the basic how to make video games from there. It's a humble beginning to start. Like they basically teach you all the cores on how to do it. And I think if you're interested in making video games, definitely should give it a try and finding out how to do each step by step. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Thank you guys so much for your answers. Now, as a last note for you, Miss Farah, what would you say, or any advice do you give to aspiring creatives that are striving for the success that you've accomplished?
Right. I'm very excited for this question because I've been recruiting people quite a lot lately, and this is a question I've been waiting for. So, number one rule, where if you wanted to join the video game industry, is to play video games. You know, like, and
Right.
have a great interest in video games. You like
Absolutely.
we have a lot of candidate, not a lot of candidate, but some of the applicants that we have, they have none of this. And I'm like, how
Oh.
can it, if you compare it, like, how can you be a chef but you don't like food? How can you make a game if you don't like video game? Like, there is no common sense in that.
Mm-hmm.
Rule number two is, this is very important. I think that what you should do is know what you wanted to do. A game designer, a UI designer, a narrative designer, programmers, find out, research about that tool. And then if you have a set goal of what you wanted to do, go to this company website, for example, go to Ubisoft website and then go to their career stuff and check their vacancy if you want to be a UI designer. And then you can check what is the skills they're looking for. Ignore the experience first. Check the skills. Like, okay, they required this skill and then this skill as well. And then from that, develop your portfolio based on this skill. Because the closer you are to these skills that they were looking for, the higher the chance of you getting hired. And it's not just that. You also working in video games. You also need to think, is this company developing game for console, for mobile, or for PC? This is very important distinction. Also, what is the genre? Are they first-person shooter? Are they strategy? Are they puzzle game? This is also important. You can't send your portfolio like a puzzle game to a strategy game, for example. It'd be like, yeah, we don't see connection.
Correlation.
Yeah, correlation. And then inside your portfolio itself, I think it's super important to have a context. Why is this piece in your portfolio? Give us context. What is your contribution in this portfolio? What are the challenge you're trying to solve? How did you arrive to this solution? Like, show us your way of thinking, because if you show us the way you're thinking, it really reduce the risk of hiring you. Because when we hired as well, we also scared. We don't know how you work. Maybe you buy this from somewhere else and then paste it onto your portfolio. Maybe it's a
Right.
group project. We don't know. So the less transparency you have within your portfolio and more tailor it, the better, the higher chance you get. Also, I know cover letters is really important as well. So in your cover letters, please express. Do not send a generic cover letters. Please tailor it based on the company. So, for example, like, dear Ubisoft, I really like your game, but not just I need the game. What project are you applying? You can't say like, I like Assassin's Creed, but applying for Undo, for example. Like, it doesn't work that way. You need to tell like why you're interested to be on project. The closer you tailor this, definitely the higher chances you're gonna get it in. And that's the best
Oh.
advice I could give. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm taking
thank you.
mental notes right now. Like.
So am I. That was really
Yeah.
good.
Future game designers, listen.
It was really good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So we're on to our final question. Last but not least, what advice do you have, Mr. Raymond, for international students who are currently or would like to pursue their studies in FCM MMU and follow your footsteps?
Don't do it. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, what I will say is, like, first of all, Farah, like, that was amazing, and I think she did a good job of explaining like the career path. Like, if someone wants to approach a career path after school and everything, that's really cool. And I want to focus my advice on people who are currently doing their course right now. And I think the thing I'll tell you is I'll echo what Farah said and also what I said before, which is obviously know who you are and what you want to do. And my advice is not only for international students, it's for everybody. That's the only way I know how to think. I feel like it applies for everybody. Is that look for mentors, one, right? What made me survive and learn so much in school was that I was always asking seniors. I had a specific senior called Lawrence, and he used to teach me a lot about modeling and stuff, right? And what he encouraged me to do was to start teaching the juniors, right? And what happens is that you learn so much by teaching people, and you learn so much from learning from people. So I'd advise you, as soon as you can, just talk to the seniors. Like most of these guys actually are happy to teach, to learn, because they improve themselves. Because you ask very simple questions like, how do I click? How do I do this in Maya, right? And like he's like, that's easy, but by telling you, he kind of practices. So you're kind of helping him as well. And don't fear to do this. And my whole answer and advice is about mentorship. Don't look at your lecturers only as teachers, look at them as mentors as well. There's like, learn a little bit about your lecturers. Like, for example, I remember I had a deep conversation with Mr. Azman, who was teaching us AFX animation, but he's a voice actor. At the time, he was doing some voice acting, but he hadn't done pro voice acting. So, like, just ask him, like, how does he change his voice? How does he do these things? And you just learn all this stuff, precious information that if you never asked him after the class ended, you would never learn that. You see, and all the lecturers have their very interesting things about themselves, and most of the time they're really happy to share. And that level of mentorship is something that I thrived, I feel like helped me thrive through MMU. And I came in as a 2D animator, and it's actually my lecturers, I believe it was Nadia and Azman, who actually told me, you might be a 3D animator. And I was like, no, I want to do anime, I want to do this. And the thing is that just talking to them and their reasoning, I found out that 3D animation was more tailored for me. And I saved myself a lot of time. So find mentors everywhere. Like, I feel like I still have mentors up to today. And my advice is just find mentors and listen to your seniors, your classmates. There might be a lot of information out there that you're kind of neglecting, and it will make you a better person. And for international students, come in with a mission, man. Come in with a mission, right? Travel from wherever you've come from with a mission. Say, I've come here to be the best modeler, right? And be the best modeler. I've come here to learn how to start an animation studio. Some of those things won't be in class. Some of them will be in the lecture. Some of them will be out in the streets of KL. Some of them will be somewhere, right? Come in with a mission and leave having achieved part of that mission. That's what I would say. So yeah, cool. Farah handled a lot of the portfolio stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think those compliments so well. Sorry, I think Raymond would compliment my portfolio stuff so much.
Yeah, it really comes together.
Fusion.
This is what it be to be in the creative industry.
That's true.
Okay, so if that is all, thank you again so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules and to have this talk with us tonight. And we are so happy to be able to share and to hear your stories and to share with the audience. And like, I would like to thank those of you who are listening. Hello, thank you so much for tuning in, and for FCM MMU for having me and Ilham be your moderators for tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. And those of you in the audience, if you would like to start your uni life at FCM, we wish you all the best, and we can't wait to meet you. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.